Okay. All right, you're on.
Okay. Well, we're glad to be here tonight in our home church and as your missionaries, and with our mission trip, our last mission trip, we want to give you a little bit of rundown of what took place and how we did it, and what our agenda was. The first two trips actually were more or less survey trips for us to find out what we felt like the Lord would have us do in the nation, in the country of Brazil. Her being one that could fluently speak the language, me being one could not even say anything, didn't know it. But we took our first trip to Salvador, and that is on the eastern coast of Brazil. And then this time we went to Manaus, which is the area in which Sandra and Cecil had worked for almost 40 years. And they had started, there's several churches. We'll let her kind of run that through, but several churches. We felt like that whenever we were going to Brazil, and the age I was and the age both of us were, is what would we do in Brazil? What would be our calling, or what would we feel like that we want to do to be able to help the missionaries? Well, we felt like that it would be that we just wanted to be an encouragement. And if you had did everybody get one of these cards? If you got everyone got a card. On the back of this card it says Barnabas Project, ministering to the ministers. And it says to providing support for missionaries, national pastors, institute graduates and students, national projects. Now we're looking forward to that last one occurring in the near future. We would like to get some national project that we could work on. We've got some ideas. But in these two trips primarily, we covered these three areas in which we felt like that the Lord would use us there. This time, and I don't remember in the last time, I think I spoke 3 times last time through an interpreter, and I spoke 4 times this time through an interpreter, and we gave our testimony I think 5 or 6 times. Both times, and we were in the institute one time. We were in 3 different churches that we spoke, and they'd asked me to preach and speak to them, and so that's what we did. We were with the Hawkins family, which Rivers of Joy supported John Hawkins for a number of years, and John said something about to me one day. He said, "Well, I used to have a church out there in Memphis," and he said, "I don't know whatever happened to it. They dropped me in my support," and said, "I don't know who's pastoring there or what's going on." And I said, "Well, what's the name of the church that we're out of is Rivers of Joy." And he said, "Well, I believe that's the name of that church." He said, "There's Sinariski, there's a guy from that had been in Alaska, had pastored that church," and said that's the one that was there when I was there the last time. And so John, there are the Hawkins family actually are down in Brazil, and they're scattered throughout Brazil. Joe Hawkins and Elaine were the older Hawkins, and they have 6 children. All of them, I think. I'll tell you, all of them in the ministry? All in the ministry but one. Her husband preaches in the Cleveland area, and all 3 of them are in, one of the daughters are in southern Brazil, and 2 of the 3 boys are there where we were, huh?
3 in Manaus. All 3 are in Manaus.
Oh yeah, all 3 of the boys are in Manaus. Now when we talk about Manaus and 3 missionaries being in Manaus, you think, boy, that's saturating the area. No, it didn't even begin. It didn't even a touch. You see, Manaus right now, when they went there, was how many?
About 90,000
About-
population.
about 90,000.
67.
And it's over 2 million now.
Mm.
So you could have, and the thing that we don't realize here in the United States, when we talk about a church, we think of a building like you have here. A church building in Manaus, just like we went out 3 hours, I think it was, to a little town to see one of the ladies that she'd known. Well, we took her daughter out there. We went out there with her to see her mom, and her mom had been in one of the churches that Sandra worked in. We went out there, and while we was out there, we saw this little lady had worked there on the institute ground, on the grounds where they were, and she had a place where she lived. She wanted to show us our house, her house. Her house was about the size of the nursery. All it had on it was old barn board siding, we would call it, just boards lined up this way. A door with a hinge on was a window. There's no window underneath of it. A door like we used to have on our old toilet was a door that went in the house in the front and the back. You went in there and all she had was a little place to cook, a little living room, and in that area they sleep in a hammock. You know, to make up their bed, all they do is take the hook off over here, fold it up a little bit, and hang it over on this end. And then when night comes, they unfold it and hook it across, and they sleep in the hammock. We took a nap. We got a picture in our pictures of us taking a nap in the hammock out on the porch. They had 4 or 5 of them lined up on the porch. Probably on the hot nights and the hot days, they slept out there on the porch more than likely.
Yeah.
Some of the kitchen was out under a tree. All the grounds are kept bare ground because they whack it down with a machete, and it rains. It's got a rainy season and a dry season, and it's about like, if you can remember a time, I think might have had one last summer, when you got about 95-degree temperature or 100, between 95 and 100-degree temperature here in the midsummer. That's what it is the year round there. I mean, you take a shower, and before you get your clothes off, you're wet with sweat. See, so we used to change your shirt, 3 or 4 times a day? That's the way it is. One of the missionaries told me one time, he said the doctor told him that the weather there took 25% of your energies that your body produces just to exist. I said, man, I'm only working on 40%. I think a bunch of mine's already gone. And I don't even have that much. But I mean to tell you, by the time we got through the news and got lunch ready, we were ready to go to that air conditioning room and take a nap. And so that's the conditions that they're living on. We say, what do they have in their house? They have maybe 1 or 2 chairs, nothing on the wall, maybe they might have a picture, they might have something on the wall, but not very much. But they were happy, and you know that little lady, we got a picture of her. She's not as tall as Janet over here, and she's about that wide. And she showed us her house, and you know what she was the proudest about? At the side of her house was a lean-to with just post up, a tin roof on the top, church pews that they'd made, and she let them have it to start them a church. No walls, and the pulpit was a table, an old wooden table, and you preached from behind that, and had wood pews, made with wrought iron legs, and one board across this way, one across the back, and that's it.